My name is Bereneice O'Rouke. I'm the Director of Operations here in Communicare, and what we do here in Communicare is we provide nurses and carers into a range of facilities really, such as hospitals, private homes, nursing homes, any care facility. We have offices in Dublin, Tullamore and in Mayo, covering the west of Ireland, my home territory. And we look after a range of clients with multiple conditions such as motor neuron disease, dementia. We look after children with life-limiting and complex conditions. Really it's cradle to grave really, any kind of care, companionship, disabilities. We do a lot around mental health as well because we're owned by 2 psychiatric nurses and we have a very keen interest in mental health because of that, and we provide client-centred care in holistic fashion, and we would probably be known more as a niche provider in the areas of mental health and children and disabilities in particular. But we offer the breadth of home care services, and obviously with an ageing population it's something that's growing in Ireland and there's a huge need for it. Particularly in rural Ireland where people can't access services as readily as they could maybe in urban areas. So we like to think ourselves as home from home because we're family run, Irish owned, and we have a great team of staff here, small cohort of people very well trained who provide the backup support to the staff in the field. And we look after those very well as well because our service is only as good as their training and expertise is. But we're extremely lucky. We have a wonderful, wonderful team of staff behind us. So we're up and on from here. We're moving offices. You've caught us on a great day. It's a Friday and we're about to move office. So it's a bit chaotic here, but it's all hands on deck. And yeah, it's all good. Very happy place to work and a great bunch. How did I get involved in Plato? Well, I suppose if you look back at my own journey 3 years ago when I came to Communicare, I had completed a Master's in Business Administration in Henley School in England a number of years ago, and various diplomas in management and business studies and this and that as one does and as you move along. And my background had been always in marketing and strategy, I suppose, really. But when I joined Communicare about 3 years ago and I moved back to Dublin, the company was starting to go through a significant period of growth. And our managing director and owner, Roisin Kelly, lives in Mayo, so I was based in Dublin, and I felt really that I needed some kind of mentoring and support in the decisions that I was making around the business processes. Like I was changing everything, I was driving through multiple projects in the company which were affecting bottom line revenue really to a great extent, and making decisions about growth and choosing different market segments to leave behind and those to pick up and really focus on. So I had met Greg Swift at a function, actually, a business function, and he was telling me about the Plato program, and I said, gosh, that sounds like exactly what I need. Even though I've done a master's and I've done various diplomas and in this and that, you need, I think, to root yourself every now and again back to the day-to-day processes that make a company successful and drive business, really, I suppose. You know, everybody at this level knows how to do a marketing plan, a strategy, your objectives, etc., etc. But what was wonderful for me was to have a group of people who were like-minded, that we were all in the same boat together. We all wanted to revisit that which we feel we know about, but there's always room for improvement and there's always fresh insights being brought by experts to each particular field. So even though I was extremely busy in the job that I was doing, probably the busiest I've ever been, I made the decision to carve out an hour or two for myself every month on that morning at 7:30 up in Ericsson's in Sandyford, and to make the effort to go along and see what it was all about. So when Marion contacted me to say that I could get on the programme and Greg had recommended me, I was thrilled. And on the very first day I went in, I knew this was for me. I knew that the calibre of trainers that Plato had engaged were second to none. They were people who had years of experience in their own particular speciality, and that they were going to help me really to assess where I was in relation to leadership, in relation to strategy formation, in relation to market planning, in relation to my financial objectives and analysis in the company, and all the different pieces that go together to Plato. Some of them you would go along to and you'd say, actually, yes, I'm on top of that, I'm okay. But then it's great to work through what other people are doing and to say, you know, Mary, maybe you should try X, Y, and Z, that worked for me. Or, you know, John, what about such and such? And likewise, people would say to me on the mornings where I was struggling with, you know, I have a big problem around X or Y, and I think I'm going to go down this route, but I'm struggling around my rationale for it, and have I made the right decision? Or I'm thinking about 3 different opportunities and I'm not sure which one to go for. And then people would row in and they'd say, well, have you thought about this or that? Or it was just wonderful support, a great mentoring from the leaders themselves, John, the team who run the actual program, Marion of course, from the, I suppose, lecturers, if I might call them that, and who deliver the workshops every month, and all of the backup support that they would provide for you afterwards, such as, I'll send you on an example of, I will give you that presentation that I think might be helpful for you in delivering Y. And then from the team themselves, people around the table from all kinds of walks of life, if you want. People who are one-man shows, people who, like myself, run teams, and all the different processes involved therein. And you know, the funny thing about it is when you work with people like that, I mean, you realise everybody has the same issues, whether you're making, 10 grand a year or whether you're making 10 million a year. It's the same issue people have around making your business successful. And for me, Plato was an excellent, and is, because I'm still going through the process, is an excellent forum for bouncing off of ideas, learning new information, learning about myself and how I am as a leader of people, and how I function within an organisation that's a family-run business, that is a serious player in the industry that we're operating in, and how I'm going to deliver personally to that business and professionally. And I think they're the 2 pieces. I think that your personal growth, has to be aligned to your professional ability, and I think it's wonderful to be able to step back every couple of years and take a program like Plato and say, you know what, I'm going to give myself that time, and I'm going to look at myself in how, nobody wants to look in, we're all too busy looking out and making the bucks, but it's wonderful to be able to have the time to look in and say, well, how am I on my sales plan? Could I be doing it better? I found John excellent in that field. He's just an outstanding asset to have in Plato. And I learned a lot about myself going through the various months, and what I could change about myself, what was working, what maybe I could do better, and what wasn't working, what I was absolutely struggling with. And nice to see that other people were struggling as well. And the greatest thing I think you can give yourself is the ability to be vulnerable sometimes, and to show that vulnerability in a group setting, that I don't have all the answers, because every day when I'm here I have to have all the answers or know where to get them. But sometimes it's nice to be able to say to your group, actually, I'm struggling here a bit and I'm wondering, can you help me? So for Plato, for me, has a great balance in bringing out the best in you personally and professionally, and delivering to you access to a vast array of information around your business that you can help in delivering bottom line profits, really. So for me, it's a joy to be in, and I won't say look forward to getting up at 5 o'clock or 5:30 on the Wednesday of that month, but when I'm there, I love it. I absolutely love it, and it's well worth it. I'm kind of inspired for the day, and I leave on a bit of a rush thinking, God, this is great, and it fires me up for another few weeks until I get back in there again. And it's time for me. That's what I like about it. I suppose the biggest change that has come about because of Plato is a change in myself. And excuse me, I think that I've learned that driving a company where we are client-centered and putting people first, I'm learning to put myself first as well in my own center stage in my own life, I suppose, and concentrating on the holistic, I suppose, pairing of myself, and that has been hugely insightful for me in being able then to deliver good sound business, make good sound business decisions about Communicare as I've gone along, such as around our strategy. And I thought that session in particular was very helpful because I was actually in the middle of our strategy planning when I started this process, and we have our short, medium and long-term strategies, and I changed some fundamentals as a result of the information and the direction that I've been given through Plato. Because when I came back to the table after having that particular workshop, I started to wonder, did we have it all figured out? And we have a wonderful management team here, and Rosie and Mark Kelly, and our financial controller Tom Greavy, and some of the rest of the team here. But what I suppose what I looked at when I came back, were we focusing on the right market segments, and were we making the right decisions based on the right information? So making informed decisions, I suppose, really was one change that I really focused on. And I think the other one would be around sales. Every business has to make sales, and we sell people and services, so the value in the service chain was one that I've always been very interested in, because that's my background. I've always worked in service delivery, and that was something that came through in the sales workshop as well for me, in how to pull out that and how to showcase that to the people that we were trying to sell to, because we're selling to the likes of HSE, and we're selling to somebody in their own home who needs care for their son or mother or husband or wife or whatever. So we've different audiences, and I think through the sales planning workshop I've learned a lot around being a lot more specific, being a lot more I suppose doing my sales analysis in a different way, where I've a lot more reporting now. For example, I drew back right to the beginning, and I said, right, in order to make that X% growth, I need to work back from that, and in that, all my planning right down to my sales approach. I think our sales really has shown in that as well. It really increased our sales, and we've taken on staff, some wonderful new staff. And of course, because we're effectively 50% of our business is recruitment, we have a lot of issues around staff and hiring staff and getting good staff. And I have implemented some really robust recruitment strategies in that regard, which have been fantastic in getting the right, good quality staff, good nurses, good carers delivered on time, around trained and delivered into the home to provide services that we want. So I've learned a lot around that, and advertising, which is my own baby. I love marketing and advertising, but things have changed. Things have changed since when I was started out, and neither wasn't today or yesterday. And it's about focusing on what works now, and being current, and being top of your game and best practice. And if you're not up there at the best practice level, I suppose you might as well forget about it. So learning about the way other people think about marketing and the way other people think about advertising. I think I have one view, and that might be all fine and well, but as I said, things are moving and changing, with social media, for example, and we recruit a lot now through social media, which is fantastic. I went back a couple of years ago and did a digital marketing course. I found it brilliant, and we use it here in the business a lot, my own experience and the experience of the people on the team here. But listening to the group and how they do it in their businesses was very unique and very helpful. So changes around marketing and advertising for definite. I'm now advertising in different channels to what I would have done. So I'm learning about that, and a lot around the financial analysis as well. What I found about Plato was, on the day, I'm soaking in the information that's been given out on the workshop, or it could be a team session that we're having, but it's really when you come away and you let the information sit with you and filter down, that you say, oh yeah, that's a great idea. It's the small ideas that you say, wow, why didn't I think of that? And I'm a great believer in don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. And other people have great ideas too, and hopefully I've made some contribution towards that for other people. But it's funny, in a group, you could be floundering on an issue, and then somebody says something, the simplest of things, why don't you do X? yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. So that was really helpful. So I think the big things for me were around strategy and sales, and really taking that apart again, and really teasing out and really, plotting my, doing my SWOT and all my analysis, etc., but really drilling down into who are you addressing when you want to sell your product, and where are you placing that product. Where's the point of sale, the point of decision making? Are you going to be there? You're going to be ready for that person, and are you going to be delivering exactly what their need is? So it's starting with the need for the customer, and placing the customer, of course, at the center of everything that we do, but then working back from that and looking at how can we best meet that need where that person is at that moment in time, so the buyer decision point, and making sure that it's not good quality care, that it's exceptional quality care. That's what we're about. Would I recommend Plato to my best friend? Absolutely. I think it has all the essential ingredients of a good program, good quality program, where somebody can take themselves off, step off the planet once a month, get some really good sound advice, and meet a whole new group of people, like-minded people who have common interests, where everybody's out to drive their business forward. Look inward. I suppose part of Plato is you're agreeing to look inward, and I think that's really the essence of the program for me, where you know what you should be doing, but we don't always do it. And I think for my best friend, and I'm thinking one or two in particular, we get blindsided by, I suppose, the bigger picture, and we don't maybe focus in on the detail, and have you done this, and have you checked that, and there's another way to do this, and another way to do that. So I think for anybody thinking about, I am struggling, or I am doing well but I could be doing better, or I just want to see what else is out there. I want to see the way other people are doing things. I want to see, I haven't got time to do all of this myself, but here's a group of people that have it all put together in a really good package for you. So I'm going to go and I'm going to have a bit of that, and I'm going to see what it's all about. So I would absolutely recommend Plato. And I have done a lot of courses over my career in different things, and I find Plato, for me at this stage of my personal life, was absolutely pitch perfect. But I think for Communicare as a company, it was great. Like, our tagline is, our family taking care of yours, and I'm going to apply that to Plato. I think it's a really good family feel in there. I think the guys that I've met, Greg and Mary and John and all the crew in there, they work really well as a team. I feel very supported there. I feel if I had an issue about anything to do with my business, I could ring in and say, listen, I don't know, I'm not too sure, I'm thinking about what if, and I'd have an answer, or I'd have someone, well, why don't you go and talk to so-and-so. So I think for my best friends, they could do a lot worse than joining Plato if they were lucky enough to get a spot on it, and I would have no hesitation whatsoever about recommending them to take time out to do it.